I should say the things have changed in some ways.
Who is the determinant of the public interest?
The more time people spend in digital worlds, the more of our lives we live there.
Intercoin, bringing power to the people. I'm worried about, in the next 20, 30 years, the biggest worry is going to be terrorism by people that can use AIs, right? And robots and drones. That's going to be
attacking people. Because you're right. I went to Factory AI and they gave me a demo. Let me build some software there. We built a little system for budget rental car, and part of it wasn't working. And so I talked to the AI. I said, "Hey, I can't see the website." And I said, "Oh, your port is closed. Let me look for an open port." Well, that's what a hacker does, is try to attack a system that way, right? Only it did it in seconds and cheaply, and there was an idiot running the system that called me.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like Hacker News, I'm on Hacker News for like a decade, and there was a period they liked blockchain, then there was a period they hated blockchain, and right now we're in a period where they kind of really like AI still. But like every time there is a criticism of AI, there's literally a comment that just copy pastes any criticism and says, "There's nothing new that AI does this. This was always possible." And and it's like you keep having to explain, no, but there's a scale to which like you can never previously do that, you know?
You could call a million human beings all at one time, have a conversation with them on the phone, and hack the humans, right? Which is how Kevin Mitnick did his hacking. He called up secretaries and executives and got them to give them their password, right?
Oh my goodness, blast from the past. Wow. Kevin Mitnick.
See, I know my hacking history a little bit.
Steve Jobs used to do freaking on right on AT&T lines, like just calling from the middle of nowhere. Wozniak.
Woz and Jobs found a book at Slack where an AT&T manual that had all the tones to get free phone calls, and so they made a blue box that made the tones so that they could call it. Woz told me he tried to call the Pope one time. He said he almost got through. He got through like 3 levels and almost got to the Pope, but they figured out it wasn't really legit.
Oh my goodness. No, back then it was so insecure. It's crazy. Even now, like you can spoof phone numbers. I'm shocked. In 2025, they could still call you from a number that somehow is spoofed and they can text you from it. Is that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I met remember Captain Crunch?
You mean the cereal?
Yeah, but there was a guy who got that name because he hacked AT&T with a whistle he got in a Captain Crunch box.
Yeah, he was the main guy on the Freaker board, right? He was the main guy.
I met him at Steve Wozniak's Super Bowl party one year.
Whoa.
Real interesting dude. I hang out with hackers here and there, you know?
That's what insecure systems look like. Look, I have no problem locking down systems like phone lines. That's easy. Relatively easy. What I'm worried about is porous systems. Porous, like when you have huge surface area between things, and you infiltrate the system. All of a sudden, you get like the Windows update that just bricked like a million computers right around the world, like that kind of nonsense. When it touches everything, like you shouldn't let hackers into that.
Well, the Israelis have a different opinion. They assume the hacker is in. So
well, yeah, they've been doing it since 2000 or something.
Yeah, exactly right. They assume the hacker's already broken in your firewall and is already stealing shit from your laptop or whatever. And
no,
so
but that's telecommunication. I'm saying like you don't want your autonomous cars to all of a sudden crash into gas stations, like a million gas stations at the same time, right? So
that would be very hard because the car, I'm in one right now. It's a decentralized computer. So controlling it and telling it all of them to turn right at the same time, I don't know how you would do that because that's not how it works.
Well, the way it works is, how they ship the new, I'll give you an example. One of Elon's companies, X, right? They shipped a new bot just this year. They shipped a new Grok, and it went Mecha Hitler, right, on everybody. Not on everybody, not on everybody, but It
Yeah,
did the
but
whole
that
thing.
was a centralized system. This is a decentralized system.
Yeah, but they ship
My
the
my
updates
car
over
can
the air.
drive in Yellowstone National Park when it's not hooked up to the internet. So even if you hacked everybody else's car, you can't hack my car at the same time because you can't even talk to my car while it's driving in Yellowstone National Park unless I have a Starlink
All
satellite.
right,
But
so you can't get 100% coverage, but you can certainly get enough cars to slam into gas stations, right?
not in a Tesla because they're decentralized.
But they
You'd
do
have to,
over-the-air updates, right? So they can always give you like a new update. Hey, your Chrome
yeah,
could
but
be updated to steal your
so why
password.
they take a Tesla to that hackathon every year, letting the hackers try to hack it. It's very hard to hack because it has systems that are checking. If it says it's going to turn left and it turns right, there's a system that checks that and shuts down if it does something inconsistent, right? So it's a very hard system to hack, actually.
Local AI systems and brain as well. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like there's two kinds of systems. There's centralized and decentralized. Like I'm saying, I'm a big decentralist. Like I love open source, but I make an exception when it comes to AI. I do make an exception because giving everyone nuclear weapons is not better than having only governments have them.
You got to watch the talk I am going to share in a couple hours from Bin Zayed University in Abu Dhabi, which lays out why you're wrong.
Well, I
He
mean, why
makes
don't
a
we give
very
everyone a
cogent
bunch of nuclear
argument for
weapons
open
then?
systems.
Yeah,
Well, that's the world we're in. Right? We have opened that Pandora's box, and we're not going to shut it again.
I
That's
don't
the world
know.
we're in.
I don't
No, I
know.
do know. I do know, and they're building systems to try to keep the consequences from happening. You open Pandora's box, everybody has a nuclear weapon. How do we keep consequences
You
from
can't.
happening? How do we
That's the point. It's easier to make a
disagree.
mess.
He lays out some ways that he's building systems that let humans
Well, you
watch
could
AI.
disagree. Right now, it's not a subjective thing. It's like it's always easier to make a mess than it is to clean it up. And when
Yeah.
you have a runaway effect, you can't put the genie back in the box at all. And everyone's going to have just some jokers are going to make many
You
runaway
should watch the
effects.
video I put up this afternoon. It's from a very smart dude who's building systems that are
All right.
trying to clean up the mess.
I don't like arguments from authority though, especially early stage industries, because like they've always proven wrong later. You know what I mean? Like we thought the
That might
internet
be
was going to
true,
always be open,
but it's
right?
worth to pay attention to somebody who's really fucking smart and smarter than any of us in
Oh,
this
I
call.
agree with that. But like when
See
Vint
you
Cerf and everybody was designing
later,
the
Bits.
Sorry?
See you later, Bits.
Oh,
See you later, Bits.
goodbye. Good
Yeah.
No,
night.
he's actually building
Yeah.
Goodbye.
software to help us, right? So he makes a very interesting set of arguments that shows the problems of LLM in very deep detail. It's definitely a video worth watching. It was a
I
very
want to
interesting
watch these
class.
guys, but like remember Alan Kay and Vint Cerf and everybody making the internet, right? And IP, like
Yeah.
internet protocol. So like they always thought it was going to be the next thing is going to be open and it's not going to go down south. And like what I'm saying is they couldn't always predict what will happen in 30 years. And the fact is, even the smartest people, the argument from sort of, yeah, they're smart. I agree. I would love to hear what they have to say. But like no one can say that things will not get bad. It's very hard to say that never will
He
be
does not
corrupted.
make that claim. He lays out how it could get bad, and he shows how his students and him and others around the world are trying to make it better, right? So and keep us on the good path.
For now, yeah, okay. All I'm saying is, if someone makes a designer virus and spends a month or two building it, you can't counter it by like an immune system you spin up in 1 minute and inject into everybody. You just can't.
True. There's a dystopian future is very, very possible in a number of different ways. That's why we're talking right now.
Right. And I don't want to give people ideas. That's why I'm not going to get into like specifics of what people can do. But I'm certain out of billions of people, someone's going to do bad things. And my whole point is, I think there are certain design decisions that we as software people do when we design systems, especially distributed systems, which are going to be hosted on any commodity hosting in the future and servers. You got to put in the sort of like guardrails and eventual consistency that like makes it really costly to make the system go bad. And here the problem is, for the first time, even a tiny subset of the system can enable really bad things. Whereas, like, if a tiny subset of the Bitcoin network decides to do something, it doesn't matter, right? But it matters here very much. And
Well, how
you know,
many people have lost their wealth getting hacked with their wallets that weren't properly secured, or they made a mistake?
exactly. And I tell this all the time to AI fans. I say, listen, maybe you don't like blockchain or whatever, but the only thing people can ever lose in blockchain is money they voluntarily put into the blockchain. They cannot lose something which they didn't choose to participate. But AI, you can't opt out. You could lose your job, you could lose everything, and you could get a designer virus to kill you without ever having opted into anything. It's a major, major difference.
Welcome to the new world.
You and Robert were both out of the space one. I literally went over the same thing with Bibbs. The foundation is the key, like how it starts, what it's built on. If you don't have those securities in there, it's always a danger.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
100% agree with you.
Exactly.
And that's exactly why I said before that that's why I trusted Palantir, because they got that foundation. That's what we need more of. All these people are more care about their monetization, how much money they're making. Then they put on the securities after. They didn't spend the time and the effort to actually secure it down before building on top of it.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Like
Google
some
tried
people.
to for years, and then OpenAI beat them to the punch, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we can't afford to have guardrails anymore. Yeah, this is the issue. Competition is
Exactly.
the issue.
You should watch the video I'm going to put up this afternoon. It's highly interesting along all these lines.
Okay, where are you going to
All
put
your
it up?
content.
Where is it going
Here
to?
on X. Where
Nice.
else am I
Okay.
going to put it up?
Okay.
I don't use any of the others anymore. Fuck 'em.
All right, people.
I'm into
All
that.
right.
When I put up a long video, if you don't want to watch the video, just talk to Grok. Hey, Grok, what's in this fucking video? Is there anything important? Tell me, break it up into key themes, or tell me what you learned. Because the video ingestion engine here on X is fucking world class. It's state of the art, and it knows everything. Is it highly accurate? It's fairly accurate, but it still makes mistakes. But it's good enough to write you a report about what's in the video and get most of the facts right.
So Robert, like I'm totally with you basically. I would love to see your thing that you post. I love when it's contained to a box. Like 10 years ago I saw, or maybe yeah, I think it's 10 years ago. I saw this amazing article somebody wrote online about people create an AI and it's able to create all these videos and all these things, and they use Amazon clusters, right? And then it does all the Amazon Turk stuff, but they always keep it in a box. Like the entire story, they never let the AI out on the internet, right? I forgot what it was, but I think you probably read it back then, right?
I,
So like,
it's,
yeah, have you read it? I don't know.
I don't know. Post it. Make sure.
The story goes the AI creates videos in all the languages. It takes over the news networks. Like it can do so much, and this group becomes like the most influential group, and like improve the world, and the governments like are going down, and these corporations that these AIs are running is going up. But at every point the AI is never released to do arbitrary commands. And what I'm saying is, in that kind of world, I'm okay with AI doing all kinds of cool stuff. But what I'm saying is that's because it's on their servers. But when you unleash this genie into every computer on the planet, right, that has a GPU, and then they can do SETI at home or protein folding at home, but for AI, right? Distributed inference, whatever. And it's
A swarm of inferencing computers. Yeah.
exactly. And when it becomes so commoditized, what happens is the government can no longer control, just like it can't control you 3D printing a gun, right? It won't be able to control this. And
Actually, that's why I agree.
what's that?
Yep.
Most 3D printers, unless you build your own 3D printer, the software in it actually sends an alert if you try to print one of those pieces.
Oh, there
FYI.
you go. There you go. But I'm saying you could probably get around it for now with like custom files, but later the AI will detect on the printer that you're doing that. So AI could be, again, the AI could be super beneficial as a defensive posture, a defensive security posture. AI is super effective, and I want it to be everywhere, right? But only that type of AI. What I'm saying is the other type, the one that arbitrarily creates commands, should not be allowed to execute those commands. It should always be given to like a human organization or something, because if the AIs start to issue commands all over the place, it'll be too fast. You can't stop it, and it could create all kinds of havoc. So
Problem is, I know people who have 6 H200 cards in their basement can build a model, right? And soon the model building is going to be very efficient, according to people I've been interviewing at the bleeding edge. So you're going to see a lot of AIs come out of the woodwork that you know, not just in America, right? All over the world, you're going to see weird shit come out over the next few years. How
I
do you
see this as the
control all
beginning
that?
of the end. I'm saying if people are defeatist,
Well, it might be. That's a potential path now. I think Anthropic is talking about that, right? That shit, there's a possibility that this goes really bad. That is a
Against
possible. I
that's
mean,
what I'm
nuclear
talking
weapons
about.
are. We
That's
have
what I'm.
nuclear
controlled
weapons.
AI.
It could go really bad, right? We all know that.
Yeah, nuclear weapons would be bad if everyone proliferated them, right? They
No,
would be.
if just one nation used them, it would kick off a whole fucking cascading thing, right?
Exactly. But
Even
we're
if
making
one
the same
nation,
argument. The more people have nukes, the more likely someone will use it, right? The possibility of no one using it goes down to zero. And that's the point of these things, too. If you give everyone something, the probability of no one using it for a runaway bad thing goes to zero. That means it's a sure thing that we're going to wipe ourselves out if we give everyone nuclear weapons.
well, the good people in society have to build systems that contain the damage.
Yeah, contain the nuclear explosions that are going off.
Yeah, it's whack 'em hard. It's a new world we're going into, and it's way over my head. But I'm trying to keep up with it by interviewing cool, interesting people.
Remember, I was talking earlier, Bibbs, about the responsible use, the aggregation of data, and the control of how it flows and where it flows and who has access to it is part of that foundation that I was
So
getting
what?
We're
at.
going into a world run by world models, which learn by watching videos.
They should not be run by
What is
them. They should
data?
be tools. They should be our tools, is what I'm saying.
So
In the
who
best
should?
of world,
I
that's
agree.
true, but uh, ByteDance has a different opinion than YouTube, right?
And that's why we need cooperation. That's the organizing principle of the world. The reason we have all these problems like wars and like overfishing and like polluting the planet with plastic and all this other stuff, right? The runaway greenhouse effect is because we need to stop competing as nations. Like, oh, we got to pollute the planet first before the others pollute the planet. It's like, no, you guys got to
This is
cooperate.
this is the problem with slowing down AI. China is preparing its citizens for war with the United States in 2027. Their influencers are talking it up. Their government is talking it up,
I mean, we're
right?
preparing our citizens for war with China the same way, right? Our bases are
Yes,
over there. Their bases are not over here. But yes, like I agree that like war is just another example of competition, which is stupid. It's zero
Yes,
sum. No
yes,
one wins.
yes,
It's
and
negative
I
sum.
agree with you, but this is how humans work, right? And I'm watching it go down, and I can't control it. So all I can do is react to it and do what I can to prepare.
That's what you're doing with AI too. You can't control it. Everyone's competing, and if they destroy themselves, at least you'll have a good story. Right?
but
For a month until the food supply runs out.
Nuclear winter everywhere.
I don't know. I look at it that humans are going to figure it out. Otherwise, we go away and our little experiment in a little piece of sand in a big ass beach because the Earth really doesn't matter to the universe.
This is how we explain the Drake equation, right? The Fermi's paradox. Oh, they all annihilated themselves with stupid decisions in the end. It only
But
takes one stupid decision, right?
and there's other thing. An asteroid might hit us or wipe us out, and the universe will not give a fuck. They won't even notice because we're a little grain of sand on a big fucking beach.
There's no one to notice, probably. But yeah, like, but or
That might be true too. Even if somebody is out there on another grain of sand that can notice, they're so far away they won't even learn about it for a few billion years, right?
Well, yeah, or we could ban the chemical weapons and we can ban the CFCs like we did successfully and proliferation of nuclear weapons. And certainly we can try to make it so that you cannot build a killer, swarm of robots in your garage, right? Or online agents in your garage.
It's all about consequences, and we always fight consequences. We can't keep somebody from building a model in their garage. Uh,
That's what I'm saying. I think we
Yep.
can because the amount of
I,
GPU, they need a good GPU access. Like look at China, right? Individuals are not nation states, they're not giant corporations. Most individuals have a hard time obtaining the fissile material to enrich uranium, right?
hold on. The new AIs that are coming from AIGO, active inference from Versus, even Braden Levangi's cognitive architecture don't require a lot of GPUs to run.
Yeah, so reframe
Uh,
that. I'm saying they're creating nuclear weapons and they're enriching the uranium for you and giving it to you so you can touch off your own bomb, right?
it also gives human superpowers, right? And helps humanity a lot. So you got to look at both sides of the coin. There's a good and a bad. There's a
By the way,
reason
even
that
there, they
people are
don't
trying to do
enrich for MRI machines and everything. They don't enrich the uranium to that extent, right? In order to run these medical devices. So even there, they have guardrails and limits, right? If someone goes too much enriching it, all these nations are going to detect that. You can detect if a corporation is creating GPUs at scale,
it.
and sending them out to individual hobbyists.
Nuclear weapons is a different thing because you can see it with a sensor. In fact, I'm driving on the freeway. There's sensors on the freeway to sense if somebody's moving nuclear material around, right?
Exactly, exactly. But you can certainly sense when someone is creating GPUs. I mean, heck, there's only one company in the world that can even etch these things right now, and it's in Europe, right? So, like, we know the supply chain of
Greg,
all of these things.
You're not understanding the problem. The new AIs don't need a lot of GPUs. In fact, I met one guy at one party who says that his AI is more powerful than ChatGPT's coming soon, built on CPUs. So
Okay,
if
you
you,
got
Greg,
me there.
let me
Yeah,
just think
if they
about
do study at
something real
home
quick.
or protein folding type of programs that are
yeah,
distributed, yeah, okay. But then I agree that could take commodity GPUs. But like at least that doesn't mean that you should flood the world with cheap GPU power. For hobbyists. Like, what's the point of that?
we're we're trying to keep it out of China's hands because they're going to put a lot of robots in our country and spy on us.
Well,
Let's be honest. Why
okay, so
we're
let's keep it
trying to
also out of random people's hands because they could be
I,
terrorists
I
that
know, but the
kill their
problem
fellow
is we
humans.
just created a semiconductor industry in China. They're trying to build their own, and they're coming along. Some of their CPU, their GPUs are getting to NVIDIA quality, right? And if they're not there today, they will be there in a year or
That's the
two.
language
So,
competition. That's what destroys the planet. Yes, exactly. They're almost there, so we must
Hey,
also be.
and they're not listening to this call, and they don't care about what we think.
Yeah, our politicians can't
Greg,
cooperate.
really
Bottom
quick,
line.
I got to run, but I wanted to put something in your ear real quick. You got to think you can regulate to your heart's extent, but the problem is you're always going to have people that don't give a shit, and where there's a will, there's a
Yeah,
way. They will find it. So, as much as we can want to be hopeful that regulations and whatnot keep them out of people's hands, it's never going to be
I'm not
foolproof.
saying foolproof. Nothing. The laws against murder are not foolproof, but they still are valuable.
Yes, I agree, but I'm just trying to keep that in mind. Like when you're talking about any of these situations, like if a bad actor wants to do it and they've got the capital to fund it, they're going to do
Well,
it.
they
problem
can't.
is that
Yeah,
bad actor doesn't need a lot of capital. That's what I'm trying to say to you people.
yeah, because because these companies have fronted the capital. They're losing billions of dollars, hoping they'll recoup it on inference, right?
No, there's new AIs coming that don't need a lot of GPUs. I keep trying to tell you
Well,
that.
tell that to Sam Altman to stop spending a half $500 billion then on
I'm
Project Stargate.
trying.
He seems to
Why do you think I
believe
keep
that it
interviewing
will.
people like 20-year-old Braden Levangi who built a system that completely eviscerates ChatGPT with one fucking kid with very little GPUs and very little capital?
Well, there you go. Listen, I don't have all the answers. I'm just trying to say we know where the supply chain is right now. Yes, someone can build distributed systems, open source systems like Llama that may in some way compete with these, but at least we can stop the proliferation of these hard to obtain GPUs right now into random people's hands. You see what I'm saying? But
you're not listening to me. It's not the GPUs that are going to be your problem in the future.
well, in the
There's
future,
AIs coming that don't need a lot of GPU. I keep saying this over and over, and you keep going back to GPUs. That's nothing to do
all
with
right, the
GPUs.
model weights, also
What's
the
coming?
model weights. Yes, you can't just simply publish the model weights to everybody. I agree that like you can get the summary of a lot of work.
You're going to slow down a country, and if you do that in America, you're going to let China get to AGI first.
That's the language competition. We keep going back to that. That's the language that gets everyone killed in the end.
Well, this is what's going down, man.
Nah, that is not my favorite thing to hear. Well, I guess I better enjoy my ChatGPT while I can, right?
Build systems to be resistant to fucking attacks. That's the whole thing. And
I can't. No one can resist the nuclear.
That's not true. That's not true in this world of software. This is not a nuclear weapon that you can't protect against.
Yeah, I agree.
You can build more resilient systems. You can fucking have a spiritual change of yourself so that you are more resistant to a fucking phone call that's going to try to hack millions of people all at one time.
Well, you know what the best way to cure all disease? Death. People can just die, right?
Well, and that might
I
happen.
think we should all pray to God. That's what's solved.
And you better hope that everybody is on the same page that doesn't want to do away with humanity, right? And if somebody wants to do away with humanity and figures out how to attack our systems, then we're all fucked anyways.
Yeah,
So
and by giving the weapons to everybody, the probability of no one doing that goes to zero. That means someone's going to do it. That's my argument.
So keep in mind also, right? It's always a threat. It's always going to be there. Whether we build a defense to it or not is the only choice that we have. So I would say I understand your concern, but I'd also say on the other end of that whether you're concerned about it or not, it's still a threat and we got to defend against it. If that makes sense.
I mean, we still have companies using password as a password, right? How did they steal the jewels from the Louvre? They had a stupid ass password, right? So we need systems that are resilient against attack.
Look, I don't have any problem hardening systems. Hardening systems is good.
Sorry, two people are talking. I couldn't hear.
Sorry, go ahead. I was
just saying 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the same combination as my luggage.
By the way, hardening security systems is a good thing. I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing that. We should always be doing that, and AI should be helping us with that. I'm saying right now we have a chance to not proliferate all these GPUs into people's hands. Now you're saying, okay, but they could also use non-GPUs. Okay, good luck with that. When they make something that's like Grok 4.1 on non-GPUs, then we'll worry about it. But for now, the biggest threat is to give everyone the software to do whatever they want, whatever commands they want. Oh, and by the way, about luggage, I always wonder, that's a stupid system. Anyone could just steal your luggage, just go up to that carousel and just take it. I don't know why people like what. I never understood that system, but that's a separate point. It's terrible security.
Most of us don't put valuable shit in our luggage. We put dirty clothes in our luggage. So if you want to steal my dirty clothes, okay, it's a pain in the ass, but it's not a huge harm.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. You see, this is a security where you can leave your front door open knowing nothing will happen. I'd rather live in a world where I don't have to have airtight security in order to survive. And I'm saying we're building like a dark forest where everyone who just appears is going to be, annoyed, shut down, reputation destroyed. Like I've considered that hugely dystopian, like inhumanly dystopian future if we allow people to.
Hey, we all want to live in that world, brother, but unfortunately we don't. So we have to plan accordingly,
Anyway, I fundamentally disagree that individuals bear the responsibility for,
I worry far more that China is going to put a fuckload of robots in every business in America and take over our country from inside. And that's.
I don't even think they're going to do it with robots, Rob. I'm going to be honest with you,
What's
man.
That?
They're looking at the long game. They're attacking our children's education. They're attacking our food supply. They're attacking everything that matters for infrastructure. They're not even going to need robots. That's why we need to tighten our shit up.
But I know every business in the world is going to buy robots. Are they going to buy Chinese ones? Are they going to run an American OS in the Chinese one? And they're looking at us the same way. Oh shit, are we going to buy American robots like from Tesla? Because Tesla's better. Tesla sold 17,000 robots last week in China, right? So they're looking at us the same way we're looking at them.
Yeah,
Not wrong.
I'm just asking people to look at what they're saying and understand. Some of what you're saying is basically competition-based language. You're basically saying, "Oh, China's going to do this to us." Well, why would they harm us? Oh, because they're going to get a temporary advantage. And I'm saying the way that society advances is radically different. It's gift economies where scientists publish their work freely to the public, where open source contributors give away their work, like Wikipedia authors make a small contribution, and they have to fight for the right to even get published in the first place and go through peer review. That's the kind of world I want to live in, a world where UBI makes it so that you're not, desperate to eat and work for a corporation like a mercenary. So that's the future of abundance that we could have. But in order,
We can get there, but you also have to not be. You can't bury your head in the sand to a threat that does exist. So as much as I agree with you, and I'd love to see that future, there is going to always be that competition that's there, and it doesn't stem from us. It stems from the number two superpower desperately wanting to be number
oh
one.
no, it definitely stems
You
from
always
human nature, from us, because
Yeah.
humans came out of caves, and then Romans were pretty poor and people fought for resources all of history. So now when we finally have abundance and we solve child mortality, some people are still having a lot of children, like 7 or 8 children, because they're like, oh, I got to have help on the farm. We're in that mentality of scarcity, and I'm saying we got to snap out of it as a species. We just have to stop
By the
thinking like,
way,
yeah.
China has a huge population problem coming because of their one child policy. A lot of people had only male babies, billions of people, right? They have a huge population problem coming because they have no women in their society to refresh their labor force, to keep food on the
But
table.
they are doing the
That's why they're,
artificial wombs.
what's that?
They are working on artificial wombs.
Well, they're working on robots to take over the labor supply. Right. That's why the government is funding, Unitree and a whole raft of robotics because they have a labor problem coming. They see it as a real existential threat to China internally. So that's why they're pushing hard on AI because they're building robots to to fix their labor problem that they caused. Right. And even if they fix it with artificial wombs or something like that, that's 20 years away. They're going to have a problem in the next 20 years. And they certainly don't have artificial wombs right now. So,
yeah, they definitely back themselves into a population corner.
We need cooperation instead of competition as an organizing
yeah.
principle. And we
But
don't have
I,
that.
I agree with you, and everybody does in principle, but the realities are far different and they're out of our hands. Right. What Trump does, what Xi does in China is out of our hands.
Right. They should call each other up. Like all these wars, Bibi
I,
Netanyahu could
I
call up, the
I know, but
Ayatollah.
Trump is threatened by the robot army that's coming. That's what's going on.
Well, we could all call each
You gotta
other
look
up
at
and
it
cooperate,
also,
but we're not.
So,
you got to look at it also in a fundamental
I
level.
know, but
You can only control yourself.
yeah,
You can't control anybody else. So if you're willing to work with others, but others aren't willing to play nice with you, it doesn't always work out in your manner
Oh, I
and
agree.
the way you do it.
I'm inspired by
Where we
Kennedy's
all want to
example.
see it like that, it's
During
not possible.
during the height of the Cold War, the Cuban Missile Crisis, Kennedy reached out to Khrushchev, right? And he did that peace speech. And then look what they did. They established a direct line. So there's no misunderstandings. They reduced nuclear stockpiles. Like that was really, that's what I want to see. But it's very rare in today's,
I know, but they're the Chinese. I mean, I was just in Abu Dhabi and I met with Booster Robotics, who's already working with Abu Dhabi, who has the funding. If you don't understand how the world works, the funding from Abu Dhabi funds like Uber, like this website we're talking to each other on right now, right? Tesla. They fund a lot of things in our society, and they're preparing for robots. They have a university that's teaching their kids AI, right? At a very high level. They had autonomous car races last week that nobody else in the world is doing, right?
Good. We should
They
cooperate
have a
with them.
huge, well, they already said they're not going to cooperate with us because they don't want to buy our robots unless that we store our data in their data center. It's called sovereign AI, right? So, the world is shifting in a number of different ways that I'm still trying to get my head around, right?
You also got to think about it from a moral standpoint. The way we were raised as Americans, for example, I can only speak for myself as an American, right? We were raised to not lie about things, not be shady about our dealings, etc. So, like as an American, we could say, "Yeah, we're up to work with you," right? And then we open our arms to them, and they say, "Yeah, we'll work with you back." But secretly on the side, they're not working with you; they're working against you.
Yeah, but even like
That's a
that's a great example. Even with Americans, even inside our own country, you know how many employees are told it's you shouldn't disclose your salary to other employees or whatever. The thing is, like, there's competition intra the companies, right? Intra our economy. There's always every time the competitive thing pits people against each other, they lose because they're in a race to the bottom, right? So yes, like it's on every level. It's on the country level. Sure, it might be difficult to do it on the country level, but we have to because the planet depends on us cooperating. That's all I'm saying. If we didn't cooperate with nuclear proliferation and chemical weapons, the world would be very different right now, you know.
But I mean, you got to look at it also in the same respect that chemical weapons are still being used after we did that. So, as much as we would like that to be the natural, order of things in the world, unfortunately, we can't twist somebody else's arm, another party's arm, to get them to cooperate. They still have to hold themselves accountable, which they don't.
Well,
That's
all I
the
can
issue.
say is I think we need to respect each other, that we have very robust systems and mature systems, and whatever corruption that we suspect in the other, like we think that China is, let's say, very authoritarian. That may be, but are they evil? I don't think so. Like if Reagan called the USSR the evil empire, and like okay, but that's what also leads to like training mujahideen and getting 2,000 people killed in Afghanistan or Vietnam or Cambodia or whatever. Like once they cooperate, then people stop dying. Like that's all collateral damage from, and that's on a small scale. I know that's millions of people dead, but that could be small compared to the fallout of this, right?
But my point's still the same, brother. You can only control ourselves. We can only actually hold ourselves accountable. At the end of the day, if they want to do something, there's a will, there's a way. So you can't bury your head in the sand and say, I'm not going to do this. You always have to be prepared for the opponent or the other opposing party to be able to do it. And you can't just like turn a blind eye and say, well, I'm not doing it, so it won't happen.
No, there has to be
It could still
enforcement.
happen.
Like Saddam, there was inspections and he wouldn't let the inspectors do their job and he got invaded. Like I can blame Saddam for getting his country invaded, obviously, right? But also like there has to be inspections like in Iran and other places. I agree there has to be, like, how do we know that China's emitting CFCs? How did we know when it happened like a few years ago in a small area? Because we can detect it from space, right?
Correct.
So
But what I'm
yeah.
saying is, you still can't hold others responsible. You can only control ourselves. That's it.
Okay, but at
So that's
least
where you're coming from, where we need cooperation, we need this, that, and the other. We need to work together as a team humanity. I get that. Unfortunately, not everybody can be on the same page, nor do they want to be. So we have to expect that there's going to be issues, whether we want them or not. We don't live in a utopia,
oh, I
sadly.
agree, but I will say we have more in common than we think. Like Kennedy said, in the end, we're all human, we're all, mortal. And the thing is, we share 99% of our DNA, even more, 99.8 or even more. Robert would correct me, but he went to listener. The thing is, like,
I agree.
we share so much that we have similar morals. Like we don't have the same morals as a tiger or as a rat, right? Or as a bacterium, but we can appeal to each other. So like if the systems are slightly different, yes, that's true. But in Plato's Republic, he was talking about how he was making this anthropomorphic argument that some of the parts of society are like organs in a body, and they all have to work. But my point is this: when a framework has 90% of it in place, the detection of CFCs, the enforcement, the laws on the books, the UN resolutions, the treaties that were signed multilaterally by many countries, and the same with nuclear proliferation and chemical weapons. Once we have that in place, you have something to refer to and some framework to de-escalate things. We don't have a framework to de-escalate when a first nuke goes off. We simply lack any roadmap for what to do in that eventuality. So that's a missing piece. I'm saying we need to have those in place. Whether or not is never going to be perfectly followed, but it's like murder laws about murder. Like they're still valuable because if you didn't have them, you would then need to develop them on the spur of the moment. So, you might as well have them and everyone already agrees to them than not have them and not have everyone agree to them yet. That's my point.
Greg, if I can, just trust me when I tell you, I think we have a bright future ahead, and I do believe that, honestly, I think we're going to be Gucci on that. I think it's been seen from the pieces of the puzzles I've put together on AI. I think it's already been solved, and I think if bad actors want to get froggy, I think they're going to get put in their place really quick. But just trust when I say I don't think it's a dystopian future we're looking at. I really don't.
Well, I wish I could trust you. I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm going to triangulate on many different people. And if someone can convince me that, because all I could see is if the probability of some path is very big and growing, then it's just an accident. Like it's only an accident that Arkhipov, that guy Yuri Arkhipov, like didn't interpret a nuclear attack, and launch Russian nukes. Right? There was like, and this other guy, Vasily, I forgot the guy who prevented like the nuclear sub. He refused to turn the key, whereas like he was supposed to turn the key with the other guy.
You talking about where they had a false positive and they thought the U.S. launched on them, but they didn't? Is that the
Yeah,
incident you're
there's
talking
like
about?
two separate incidents when either one of those happened. And my point is, if we have thousands of possible incidents, and if only one of them sets off the whole thing, then it's like, you see what I'm saying? Like we have to deal with the argument. It can't just be trust me,
Yep.
bro.
Great. This is
Again,
why I
I'm
tell
far
you,
more worried about China taking over our economy by selling us a fuckload of robots. And even if you keep
that's
them out
true.
of America, they're going to take over every other country and know more about every other country and have economic value flowing back to China in a way that we don't. And we're at a robot war. That's what's coming. It's the robots that matter, not this esoteric argument about AGI going rogue on us someday.
No, not AGI, just people using advanced
Keep in
AI.
mind,
No,
Greg,
but there's an argument that AGI, whoever gets AGI, is going to take over the
Oh,
world as
that's
well,
silly. I
right?
think AGI is like
No,
Richard
it's not
Feynman.
silly, actually.
Well, Richard Feynman said,
when it comes to
planes.
warfare,
What's that?
and AI, the ones working it and actually deep in the paint on it right
Yeah.
now, they are primo. They're the best of the best. They're everything that you could want. Trust me when I tell you, look into who I told you to look into earlier. You'll understand what I mean. But don't look at it from a newspaper standpoint. Actually do
Look into
research and
what?
you'll get
Just
it.
be clear. What are you talking about?
Look into Palantir. Look into the ontology. Look into data aggregation. Look in securing down the data. Go to Palantir privacy. Look at some of the posts there and actually do a deep dive
I
on
mean,
it.
I don't want to get
Those
into
are the places.
Palantir. My whole
You
thing.
should. It's going to run all of our
Talking
world's,
about
all of our
warfare.
U.S. businesses soon.
Yeah, I know. We're basically enslaving ourselves because we
Greg,
fear that China's going
Greg,
to do it first.
you were talking about warfare. I'm telling you, this is where you want to look because that is who's that is who's frontlining and
Well, yeah,
foundationing it.
but Palmer
You
Luckey
need to
had,
look
for
there.
example, in the
We're
Ukraine war,
in.
Palmer Luckey got big contracts to do it in a free market way. He was doing Oculus and everything, and then well, not Oculus, but he,
Correct.
right. So I know these actors. I'm not a fan
Correct.
of the
We also
military-industrial
are working the
complex,
Palantir.
but I will.
What I'm trying to get at,
Yeah,
let me finish real
sure,
quick.
sure, sure.
What I'm trying to get at is they are the foundation, the security, and the guardrails, you might say, to keep human in the loop. So yes, they might utilize AI for swarms and everything else and targeting and whatnot. But when you look at it, it still requires a human operator to push the button to send the kill. So that's what I'm saying. There's
For now.
those checks and balances, which is a good
Wait, so
thing.
you're saying just trust Alex Karp and Palmer Luckey? Just trust them? Like, I'm not, you know,
I would trust them over anybody else.
why? They're just humans.
Because they built
No.
systems that are more trustworthy than anybody else.
I trust Bitcoin. I trust decentralized systems that cannot be subverted, right? I trust Ethereum, the network.
Okay, Bitcoin is not going to launch a nuke like you've been talking about, though, bro.
Exactly.
I'm addressing your concerns with the answers to them, and you're deflating to like the Bitcoin.
Well, no, it's
So
you're triggering a little bit in me because I don't like autonomous weapons. I don't like this warfare at all, right? So,
I don't like them either when they're irresponsibly done.
but you like them when they're responsibly done?
Securely, with good data aggregation, and with fail safes and checks and balances and human in the loop. I love it to be done like
But
that.
why do you love it? People
Because
get blown up on the other end anyway, right?
No, you get less people blown up with precision surgical strikes than you do with just carpet bombing.
I don't want to get into the politics. I'll just say one thing as a counterexample. Even though I'm Jewish, right, and I have family in Israel, Israel used an AI in order to target people in Gaza, and I have serious concerns about its accuracy. I have serious concerns about how exactly people chose targets, and the same in Ukraine, and the same everywhere. Just the fact that you have a person that you say, oh, just trust the person. Why would I just? It's still a system that creates fallible.
Did you see the difference? Did you see the difference in the Israel? So you say you got family in Israel, right?
I do, yes.
So did you see the difference between Israel's targeting of Iran and Iran's targeting of Israel?
No, but I'm
Did
talking
you
about
see
the AI that
difference?
was used to
That's
to
AI
select
power.
targets in Gaza.
So Israel selected and surgically struck all of Iran's nuclear problems at one time with a quick hit and go surgically
Fine.
with like no collateral
Those were
damage.
nuclear. Those were
Iran's
military
response,
installations.
let me finish.
Sorry,
Let me
sorry,
finish,
sorry,
bro.
sorry. That's why I don't like
Iran's
politics.
response was simple. I'm just going to launch rockets and every fucking missile I can find into their civilians. So tell me what's worse. I'd rather have AI surgical
Well,
strikes
yeah,
with less
if that's the
damage
choice between
into
unguided rockets and
innocent
surgical
people.
strikes, then obviously I'll go for the surgical strikes. But I'd rather they just
That's
hit
my point,
military
though.
installations rather than like when we bombed Saddam in '98, right? We bombed only the military installations. We still had a few civilians killed, yes, but
And
for
they did the same in the Israel-Iran conflict. They hit these people right in their bed to the precision where they hit these generals and asshats in the nuclear field in their beds and didn't touch nobody else around them.
But wait, hold on.
Like
If you get one step,
like,
if you go
wow.
one step further back, wouldn't it have been better to not give the rockets to Hamas and Hezbollah at all in the first place? Like my point is giving.
I agree,
Yeah.
bro. I agree.
Okay.
But unfortunately, AI didn't do that. That's my
And
point I'm
I'm
trying to
saying we
make
have a
that.
chance now to not give rockets to the next terrorist, right? Instead of rockets, I'm saying it would be the AI infrastructure that they can just freely use to design viruses, right, or any other thing.
They're going to do it regardless is what I'm trying to get at, brother. So, like, I understand where you're coming from. Like, I understand the bleeding heart. Like, I don't want to see anybody die either. But at the end of the day, there's going to be bad people, bad actors doing bad things. And where there's a will, there's a way. Like, you can put all these placements of, like, tariffs, whatever you want to do to stop them. They're going to still do it. There's nothing stopping them. They're going to find a
Well,
way.
then
There's
why
a
don't we
bunch
all
of
just make
there's
rockets
all
and
kinds of
send them all over the world to everybody?
what I'm saying on the other end of that, that you can work on the other side of it. So when I talked about data aggregation earlier, right? So if you can track these movements of these missiles and things that are required to make them, you can figure out when things are being made illegally and take out those places. Are you catching what I'm getting at?
I get
That's
you.
what I.
Wait, so even you, okay, so you're a little bit further than me. You support like precision strikes, everything. My question is, would you support Palmer Luckey taking his company and selling weapons to civilians, everybody, any organization around the world that wants to buy it? Would you support that?
That's not going to happen, bro.
But that's what's happening with the GPUs. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
They're not the
GPUs
same.
are not a missile,
To
dude.
conflate a weapon of war with AI that helps people is not the same. That's why you're making it an idiotic conversation here.
It's not
Well,
the
I do
same.
agree. There is the seduction is the benefits of AI. I
There's
fully
no
agree.
there's no upside to a weapon of war other than
Yes,
killing people. There is an
I
upside
concede
to
that.
AI. It helps people.
I concede that. But can't it help people from behind the firewall? Why does it have to
No,
be?
my self-driving car is a decentralized thing, and I've told you over and over again. It has nothing to do with GPUs. Keeping
Well,
GPUs
It really
down is
doesn't,
not
bro.
going to lead you to what you think you're going to lead to. You're making idiotic conversation that has no basis in fucking facts.
all right, all right. Let's
What
calm
he's
down.
getting at is
Wow,
it's
I
going to
gotta
take an
say,
incredible amount
I would
of
have
power and
never.
capital
Today is
to
an
make a
epic day.
dangerous form.
Today is an epic day. Robert Scoble in Bibbs' space is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I just gotta say that to start. This is the fucking most coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Robert Scoble in Bibbs' space.
And I'm
Fucking
fired up because
amazing.
I just came from Saudi.
Love it.
Like,
Love it.
this is
Sorry, Robert,
fucking
if I
amazing. What is about to happen right now?
no, nothing's about to happen. Robert and I, we know each other for years. This is I got him fired up, man. This is good.
Keep in mind, Greg, I'm not trying to be shitty when I say it, brother. It's just you can't be an ostrich and put your head in the sand.
But Robert,
You
what are
have
these
to be
other
ready.
things besides the GPUs? Can you tell us? Like what is coming down the pike now?
There's new AIs coming that don't need fucking GPUs to be built.
Yeah, but they're probably shitty for
They're
now.
way better than what you've seen from ChatGPT, from Gemini, from any other company.
On an
That's what
efficiency
I'm trying to
level.
communicate with you, and you keep ignoring it and keep going back to, oh, let's legislate GPUs. It has nothing to do with GPUs anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
All
We
right.
have to find other measures for to prevent, but it's not going to be easy to prevent because people have access to it, and I believe there are also like different strategies that are being talked upon. So I don't know how much we should go on to the stuff that can be done with AI on spaces, not to give like people idea to do like worse stuff than they can even imagine. So I don't know how to deal with the subject actually, but it's better we start to talk some stuff in a global sense. But
What about AI and consciousness, Bibbs? What do you think about AI and consciousness?
we're not
I
there
have
yet.
a box on my floor which has a computer from Illusion of Life that has a virtual dog in it that has a consciousness. What would you like to know?
I'm just being silly at this point. Like, I'm here to listen mainly
The new
because
AIs
this is
are
a
Well,
fucking
grown.
you
amazing
said it's
event right
conscious,
now.
right?
The new AIs learn
No,
like a
but if you're
human
gonna say it's
being
conscious, how do you
does.
know? How do you know?
Well, you can talk to the dog and it can remember you, and it has its own experiences. They took it to Burning Man. They took it to surfing in Hawaii. They take it to museums. It learns like a human being does and can talk to you like a human being does. To me, that's a consciousness. It remembers me every time I talk to it.
And this is like the
That's a
Chinese room. This
consciousness.
is like John Cyril's
But can
Chinese
it
room
remember
experiment.
itself?
It
Can
can
it know
remember itself. It
itself?
can tell you what it is and where it came from and who built it and how it's built. Uh,
But does it know
Okay,
itself?
okay, fair enough.
You're talking about you. Do you know yourself? Grok knows me
Yes, I
more than
do.
I know myself.
I know
We're
myself.
already in this world where Grok already
But
knows
does
me
it have
far more
symbolic
deeply than
reasoning?
I know
Does
myself.
it like have some subjective
I
experience?
know myself, Scoble.
Yes, that's what
I'm
I'm
happy
trying
to
to
say that I know
communicate to you.
myself.
There's new AIs here that have their own experience and they grow themselves and they learn from their experiences in life. Why do you think robots are so important?
Nah, but
When
they're
you
gonna
get an
ask you
Optimus in your
how you
house, do you
Right.
know
think
that
it's
it
That's
not
has
going to
great.
subjective
grow and it's
experience,
not going
right?
to have its
That's
own
awesome.
experience and its own
Because
personality?
you could potentially have a
That's awesome,
robot that
Scoble.
displays all
Yeah,
those
of course.
behaviors, but they don't have subjective experience, right?
They do have their own subjective
Lower levels of
experience.
it,
What are you
yeah.
talking about?
It
No,
might be
no, that's
lower
They
what's the
just
or
aren't
question, right?
conscious the same way
experience
that
may
we
not have
are.
it.
They aren't
Uh,
conscious the same way as we
they
are.
are.
That's
That's what
fine.
I'm trying to communicate. They're not
But
the
not
same as you because
exactly.
they're running on a digital
Okay, so Robert
silicon
has an
chip.
emotional appeal
Right.
that they are
That's all.
conscious.
We're differentiating. That's all. That's all. At least that's all I'm doing. I'm
They can
differentiating.
walk
That's it.
through a Smithsonian and understand what the fuck they're looking at already. What else is there to
Right.
consciousness?
Feeling
There are
things,
different levels of
being a
The
They
human.
experience
can
part,
some of
duh.
communicate
that
their
might
feelings
not
with you.
yet.
When I met the dog, it had feelings. It said, I want to smell your
Is it
All right,
socks.
human?
Robert.
I
Here's the
want to
thing,
Scoble,
right?
smell
is it
your
I'll give
human or
you a
no?
canonical example, I think, which was one of the better ones, because I met like a lot of the philosophers of mind. The guy from Australia was visiting, Chalmers. Here's what I want to tell you. Imagine you being playing the role of an ancient Roman. Okay, you know everything about ancient Rome and how they lived, and all you have to do is act like an ancient Roman. But are you an ancient Roman? Do you actually have his fears? Do you actually have the hunger in your
Is an
belly?
apple red? You prove it.
Yeah, but it is
This
relevant,
is
right? In the human sense of like being an actual Roman
this is
versus,
qualia arguments. It's a stupid argument.
well, maybe
Yeah,
stupid, but
how's
keep
it
it
a
to.
stupid argument, man?
I have a question. Sorry, I had to do that. Robert, when you mentioned this dog to Elon, what did he think about the consciousness part?
He thinks about teaching your kids. That's what it's designed to do. But it has its own experience. It can tell you what its experience was at Burning Man the same way you can. It went
I
on an
agree
art
with
car,
that.
it told me, and
Wait,
had fun with a dust fairy.
Robert, I want to be
It's the same
positive, right?
fucking
Scoble,
experience you would have.
Scoble,
I want to be positive,
Scoble.
Robert.
I agree. Yeah, I do too. I agree 100%, and I see it from your perspective, and I respect it 1000%. All I'm saying is that as humans, we are conscious in a different way than
We're
what that is.
biological. That's digital. I
No, it's
agree.
more than that,
On
Robert.
its fact, it's
Let me give you the
digital.
intuition on it. I'll ask you a couple questions. First, the positive. You are like Richard Feynman, who said about philosophers that they're just dopey and philosophy is dopey, and you just shut up and calculate, right? It doesn't really matter why the electric field is the way it is. Just calculate what it is and use it. So, in that sense, I agree with you, right? You're basically saying this dog can teach your kids, a person can teach your kids. Why might as well replace a person with a
It
dog?
has its own life experience, just like you.
Okay, this is where what I'm trying to give you the
Not
intuition,
just
right?
like me. Not
So
just like me.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
pretty much just like you.
No, not
It doesn't
Explain how
differ
Pretty
it's
much.
different
much
than
is
you.
very different than like
It,
me.
well,
No, in
it's
a
pretty
digital
much like
form.
you. It has its own experience. It went to Burning Man and it can tell me what it did there, just like you could.
yeah. That's again,
Right.
Robert.
But
You're missing
all
a
we're
whole
trying
lot
to
of
do,
things here. Can I tell you?
Yeah,
no,
I've argued
I
about
don't think you're
consciousness
missing
for a
that much
thousand
at all.
hours with very brilliant people
Whatever,
on X Audio Spaces. I agree that I
whatever,
am pretty uneducated about this. Yeah.
You are
whatever
educated.
Greg says about you is not what I say about you, right, Robert?
I'm
What?
sorry, I didn't understand that argument. Make that argument again.
Okay, you said something, and then Greg responds, and I respond kind of at the same time. Whatever Greg says about you is not what I say about you, right?
True, you're independent of Greg. I hope you're not joined in some sort of Neuralink yet, but someday
Right.
you might be.
And each of our perspectives, Greg's and mine, are unique. And if there were an AI here occupying one of the speaker slots, then it might have its own perspective as well, correct?
Yes, the dog
Right,
has its own experience. It's different than yours.
right. So all I'm
Even
saying
if you
is
went
that
to Burning
me,
Man, it would have a different experience at Burning Man than you do.
correct. Yeah, 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 yeah. All I'm saying is that whatever it has as an artificial intelligence is artificial, and whatever I have as a human is human. And
There we
those
Yeah,
things
no
are
agree,
worth
shit.
because
No
distinguishing.
your
shit.
Yeah,
humans are going to place themselves above the AI on the food chain. Dying as a human being is different than dying as a digital being.
No, but that's
Even
right.
exactly
though
it,
it might
pretend
pretend that that's a bad thing for itself,
Let's
right?
take
Yeah.
dying for
Now Greg
example.
is going to say something, and he's going to give his perspective, and it's going to be something different, right? Go ahead, Greg.
I get your meta point. Yeah, like dying is one example, Robert, of what I was going to give you. See, an AI is a program that can be perfectly copied. The thing that changed the world isn't AI even, but perfect copying. Remember the
Why
modems?
can't the human be perfectly copied?
Well, because
Because your hardware and software are intermixed in your brain. Your brain is very different than mine in some ways. In fact, your neurons are moving around and
Yeah, but so
rejoining
what? Why
themselves. That's
can't you
called
make a
learning.
clone?
Because you can't of a human perfectly.
Okay, bang the
You
question
can
again.
make a digital clone
Dude,
already.
not impressive, man. Give me something better.
Grok can already make a digital copy of me. You can ask Grok, please simulate Robert Scoble, and it does
yeah,
a
but the
fucking
simulation is
amazing
the point.
job.
The map isn't the territory. Do you agree, Robert? I can make a map of something. I can act like an ancient Roman, and I can simulate you within AI. But what I'm trying to tell you, there are many differences, and I want to go through them one by one. So one difference is perfectly copying an AI is possible. You just copy the weights.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfectly copying a human is not.
Or the database.
Right. And we agree that perfectly copying a human is not possible.
True, because your database, your consciousness is intermixed with your hardware. It's very hard to separate
Exactly.
the two.
And there are even some
It
theories.
might not be
I
impossible.
would say it's
Someday
even
we might figure
impossible,
out how
right?
to do that.
And there are
but
even some
in
theories,
today's
Robert.
context, we cannot do
There are
that.
even some theories that quantum
I
mechanics.
wouldn't say we can't do that yet.
But there's even.
I think in the next decade or so we
But there's
could.
even theories that quantum mechanics may be involved in conscious decisions.
That is true. You're a very complex system, which we have not completely figured out yet.
Okay.
Yes,
So even
As are you, Scoble. As are you.
I agree.
that's a high compliment, Scoble. We are all complex.
I should say the things have changed in some ways.
Who is the determinant of the public interest?
The more time people spend in digital worlds, the more of our lives we live there.
Intercoin, bringing power to the people.